So hello my friends, Devon Lennox here, PhotographyPX. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys one cheat to get a perfectly clean Instagram feed. All right, so here we are on screen. So this is actually a screenshot of my Instagram page. This is an older, I suppose it's an older screenshot, but it's a screenshot of my Instagram page, and I'm gonna show you guys a technique or a tool. There's a lot of different ways you could do this. You could do this with an app on your phone. A lot of these are subscription based and you will have to pay money for them. So I'm gonna show you a way to avoid that, but still get the same results so you can actually see what your Instagram feed looks like chronologically, so you can basically schedule out posts and you can get more of a thematic or a more intentional Instagram feed. So here we are actually in Adobe Photoshop. So basically I'll kind of explain what I did. So this is my actual Instagram feed as posted on Instagram. This is an older version of it. This is probably, I would imagine, maybe March of this year. So there's a lot of newer content that's on here. But suffice it to say, what I did was I actually took a screenshot of the website itself in Google Chrome or whatever browser that you guys want to use. But essentially, I took a screenshot of the actual Instagram page so that I can get the individual markings and then also the structure of how the content's laid out. From there, I basically converted all of these individual subsections into smart layers. So you'll notice that if I turn this layer on and off, it's actually a customizable layer, which you can then import photos. Essentially what a lot of people are doing when they're making apps like Planoly or Feedly or Iconosquare or all these other applications, and all those applications are great because they do allow you not only to see your projection of your Instagram feed, as well as schedule your posts, which is great with hashtags and all that stuff. So you can just do it once for an hour and you can have 6 months of content, which is fantastic. But ultimately, a lot of those are paid for, and some of them are $10 a month, some of them are more. So if you guys want to avoid spending that and having more overhead, then this is the way that I'm going to show you guys how to recreate this PSD. One thing I do want to say as well is that this PSD will be free download in the description below. That will take you over to a web page on our site that has a bunch of free downloadable content. This PSD will be one of those things. So all of the individual squares will be they'll be numbered and organized, as you can see, top, middle, and bottom row. But they will be grayed out so you can just import your own images. So I'm going to show you guys how to recreate this, though, if you want to recreate this. So essentially what I did, so I took this individual layer, and then what I ended up doing is basically I made rectangles. So you have to create a new layer to do this, but I made rectangles and I made them as close as possible to the original size of the actual, like I guess the actual frame on Instagram. From there, what you're going to do is you actually have to end up converting this to a smart layer. So let me go over to the tabs. I need to see more information. Okay, so I'm going to convert this to a smart object. What that's essentially going to allow you to do is for you to, with the size of that square, which is the square that I just overlaid on Instagram, it's going to allow you to basically import an image, or it's going to open up its own PSD, which you can then make edits. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to import a photo on top of this right here, and then come out of this PSD, and then it's going to transfer that into the main profile that we're using before. So I'm going to go to File, and then Place Embed, which is basically placing an image, and then I'm just going to select an image. So say, for example, this Dodge and Burn Tutorials PSD, and then I'm just going to resize it so it's fits accordingly. We're going to hit the check mark up here, and then we're going to close it and hit Save, and then that's all you do. And then that makes that smart layer right there. And then all I did was I did that for each individual squares. I grouped all of them into a top row, middle row, and then a bottom row with all of the same dimensions. If you do want to make this easier, you can copy and paste to make sure the squares that you're making are exactly the same size. I don't think it needs to be quite that accurate and quite that perfect, but if you want to make it exactly, you can do it that way. You can measure them out. You can do a ruler in Adobe Photoshop, and you can get the exact dimensions, and you can just type them in, and it could be exactly what Instagram posts. But essentially, that's all I did. So to upload to like change any of these images, all you have to do is just go to the applicable row. So the top row, the middle row, the bottom row, whatever it is. Select the image that you want to change, double tap. It opens up that same layer, like I said before, which is just the square that I made with an overlay. And then just go back over here to File, Place Embed, and then we could just change it to this image instead. Hit Enter or the checkbox or the check mark, hit Save, and then it'll go back to our original working project, and then that will be there. The only thing that you would want to consider doing though, however, is using a white, well, it's not really a white box, but ideally using a white box or matching the color that you select for the boxes you're using to the backdrop here, the background color here that Instagram uses, which is not quite like a neutral gray. It's not quite a white. It's like somewhere in between those two. So you'd have to just use a color picker and get that exact color and then make that the box that you're using. But this right here is that template. So yeah, I mean, that's the template right there. And then you can just, this is how I was projecting out, okay, for the next, I guess this would be like a week's worth of posts, like 3 weeks, 3 weeks to a month worth of posts. This is what my Instagram is going to look like. And then I just edit these photos individually. And then I just, on that day, I upload them. I do the hashtags, all that stuff, and I just upload them. And then I get exactly this at the end. So I know this is like, I don't know if this is something that's really talked about. Like I said, there are applications on your phones on both iOS and Android that do this. A lot of those are paid for though. And not only that, they don't really give you the ability to do this on computer. Some of them do. They're not really great. You have to upload and then crop and do all this stuff. It's a little bit inconvenient, so I kind of figured I'd just make a PSD, which I did a long time ago. And yeah, I kind of figured I'd just give this out, and if it helps you guys, then that'd be great. It helps me. It still helps me. This is exactly how I still do my Instagram project planning now, and it's totally free and it's super easy to do, and you can just play around with the images. It's very easy. So I don't know if that'd be beneficial, but I hope it added some value. I hope this is a little tool in your quiver belt of how you can start to project plan and figure out your portfolio, and then also showcase your images on not only Instagram but really any social media platform that displays 3x3 images. That could be even Behance for that matter. But yes, I hope that was valuable. If you're new here, please consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Leave a like and a comment in the description down below. Let me know, your thoughts on this. Do you think this is kind of a waste of time? Do you like this? Has this been something that you've heard before or something like that? Let's start that discussion. I'd love to, have that discussion with you guys in the comments. And by all means, stay tuned and locked in for our future videos. We've got some great content coming up soon. I'm Devon Lennox, PhotographyPX. We'll catch you in the next video. Peace out, my friends. And